Hello everyone, this is Moose101, and today I'll be giving you guys my Steelswarm deck profile. I'll swap there a little bit. It's my second attempt. My dogs erupted partway through the first attempt at filming for reasons unknown, but I'm just going to give it a second try and see how this goes. So to start out, I have 3 Steelswarm Girastag. It's the main boss monster of the deck. It's level 7, so normally it would require 2 tributes, but you can tribute summon it using only 1 tribute if you tribute a Steelswarm monster. And then if you do, you can target a card on the field and just send it to the graveyard, and then if you do that, you gain 1,000 life points. He keeps you healthy with his effect, as well as is just excellent removal because he can target spells or monsters regardless of whether they're face up or face down. And he also sends it to the graveyard rather than explicitly destroying it, so it gets around a lot of different effects, and is just an excellent card at 3. Next up, we have 3 Steelswarm Moth. When he is tribute summoned by tributing a Steelswarm monster, you can pay 1,000 life points to target 2 cards in the field and return them back to the hand. He's similar to Girastag, has very excellent removal, but you have to pay life points to use his effect, so using Girastag and Moth intermittently can help keep your life points high where they should be. And Moth is also slightly smaller than Girastag at only 2,400 attack as opposed to Girastag's 2,600. For our last tribute monster, we have 2 Steelswarm Mantis. He has only 2,200 attack, but when he is tribute summoned, you can pay 1,000 life points to special summon a Steelswarm monster from your graveyard. I only like him at 2 because he conflicts a little bit with the main engine of the deck, but you need more tribute monsters or else you won't always draw into them. I mean, you don't always as it is, but I tended to find that having just 6 was not enough, and there really aren't any other 1 tribute Steelswarm monsters, so he's kind of the best option you have, I think, but that's still left to you. Next up we have 2 Steelswarm Scout. He is the main engine of the deck. At the start of your main phase 1, if you control no spell or trap cards, you can special summon him from your graveyard. If you do, you cannot special summon for the rest of the turn, and Scout cannot be tributed for a tribute summon except for the tribute summon of a Steelswarm monster, and he can't be used as a synchro material monster. That sounds like a mouthful of restrictions, and it kind of is, but for the most part, you're just using him, bring him back, and then immediately tributing him for either a Moth or a Girastag. If you use Scout, though, you can't use Mantis' effect, which is why the 2 conflict. I like him at 2 because if your opponent, like DD Crows 1, you're in trouble, and you don't have one. So, I like 2, and also, if you draw to it on your first turn, you can just send it, and it's not like it's the world's most horrible draw, so I think that's a good number. Next up, we have 3 Steelswarm Cell. He's like Cyber Dragon in a little tiny bug form. If you control no monsters, you can special summon him from your hand. He's similar to Scout, cannot be tributed for the tribute summon of a monster besides a Steelswarm monster, and cannot be used as a single material monster. He can be used for XE summons, and he can be normal summoned as well, but he's a good way to set up your plays earlier on, catch your opponent off guard if they think you need your turn 1 set up, which you usually do, but you can change that. 3 Steelswarm Caller. When he's tributed, you can special summon a Steelswarm monster from your deck, so for the most part, you'll be tributing Caller and then getting our Caller. That's pretty much the best way to do it, I think. It has to be level 4 or lower. You could also go for a Scout if potentially you haven't had that set up yet, but you can make rank 4 Xyz monsters, and you can also work with Mantis if you tribute him, because Mantis can bring back the one you tributed, and then you have 2 level 4s and you're good to go into Ophion or whatever. Next up we have 3 Armageddon Knight. When he's normal summoned, you can send a dark monster from your deck to the graveyard, so he sets up your Scout plays very, very easily. He's probably the most regularly used way that I do that. Kind of weird sense, sorry, but not a whole lot to really talk about with him. He can be a bit cloggy, but it's a necessary evil because you need to make sure you can set up your Scout, so. 3 Ghostrick Lantern. When your opponent declares a direct attack, you can special summon him from your hand in face down defense position. So he'll block 2 attacks because he negates that initial attack that he summoned off of, and then his body, itself will also block 1. He's also got 0 defense and he's a dark monster, which will be important later on. So I like him because he can't really run traps in the deck, because if you can't activate them, they'll clog up your back row area, and then you can't summon Scout. I think Lantern is a solid line of defense to run from the hand. For spells, we have 3 Infestation Pandemic. It's a field-wide disband lance for all of your Evilswarm monsters. They're completely unaffected by spells and traps, and it's a quick play, so you can chain it to things like Trench Tribute and Bottomless Trap Hole. Excellent card. 3 First Step towards Infestation. You return a tribute summon Steelswarm monster control to the hand, draw 1. It's another good way to just dodge around things like Trench Tribute and Bottomless Trap Hole while still getting off the effects of your tribute summon monsters. It prevents you from going minus, and you can use it at the end of your opponent's turn if you have one on the field to resummon it next turn and use its effects again. So, excellent card. 3 Mystical Space Typhoon, with First Step and Infestation Pandemic both protecting reactively against trap cards. I think I feel comfortable playing 3 Mystical Space Typhoon to take down spells and traps that might be face up, like Mantis Emptiness causing me problems, and potentially also like Solemn Warning before it has a chance to activate. 3 Pod Duality. As I said, your first turn is generally pretty slow, so Pod Duality doesn't really get in the way that much, and it helps add consistency to the deck. 3 Recurring Nightmare. It selects 2 dark monsters with 0 defense in your graveyard and returns them to the hand. This is why Ghostrick Lantern's 0 defense stat is important. It means you can recycle that as well as every other Steelswarm monster. So, excellent card at 3. 1 Allure of Darkness. You run all dark monsters, so there's no reason not to run this card. 1 Full Burial, easy to set for your Scout. And 1 Dark Hold, just in place for Riageki for now. That's it for the main deck. I don't run any traps because, as I've said, those conflict with Scout. Moving on to the extra deck, we have 1 Ghostrick Dullahan. It's got only 1000 attack, but it gains 200 for every Ghostrick monster you control, so it's at least 1200. You can make it with any 2 level 1 monsters. Usually I make it with Lantern and Cell, that's just the easiest way to do it. And he can also detach material during either player's turn to target a monster on the field and have its attack, so he can go toe-to-toe with some very large monsters. Additionally, if he's destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can add a Ghostrick monster besides himself from your graveyard back to your hand. So, generally, if you do make him using Lantern and Cell, you'll be adding that Lantern back to your hand. Next up, we have Slacker Magician. It's another good Stally rank 1 monster. Once per turn, it can't be destroyed by battle. It's 2100 defense, so you can sit in defense and generally pretty safe. Additionally, it can negate and destroy attacks that target it by detaching Xyz materials, so good card to make unless you know your opponent has 2 cards capable of beating over it. In which case, number 39 Utopia Roots comes in. He can detach material to negate an attack, so he can block 3 attacks, though he cannot do it every turn. So, both he and Slacker Magician kind of have pros and cons. Additionally, Utopia Roots can gain attack if he negates the attack of an Xyz monster, though generally your opponent will just be smart enough not to attack him with an Xyz monster, but regardless, I still like the card. For rank 4s, I have Gaga Samurai, Utopia, Maestroke, 101, Abyss Dweller, Popple Operative. These are just some generic rank 4s I had laying around that I thought would be good in the deck. These are not the ones I ultimately want to include. Castel, Axpon, and Lava Vault Chain are definitely ones I would want to add in. So just think of these as generic rank 4 slots that I'm filling with what I have available at the moment. 1 Steelswarm Roach, technically also a generic rank 4 monster, but I do like it because it kind of fits the theme of the deck of really just shutting down a lot of your opponent's options by making what they do just completely ineffective. A lot of Steelswarms also are very big on just hating special summon monsters from the extra decks, particularly. Well, really just anything except Xyz monsters, and Roach fits that theme, destroying and negating the summon of any non-Xyz monster that is special summoned, so he is a good card, but I'm not sure he's necessarily the safest turn 1 play because he has so low attack at 1900. Evilswarm Nightmare is very similar to Roach, but he can do it against any monster, so if you happen to know you're against an Xyz-focused deck, you can make Nightmare turn 1 and try to shut them down a little bit. He just flips into face-down defense position instead of negating and destroying them, so... 1 Evilswarm Thanatos. It requires 2 level 4 dark monsters, so any 2 level 4s in this deck, basically. And he can detach material from himself during either player's turn, make him immune to monster effects this turn, so... in combination with Infestation Pandemic, you can make a card that is very much capable of being immune to everything, except for battle, and he does suffer a little bit from that because his attack isn't the highest, but he's a good card nevertheless. 1 Evilswarm Bahamut, you need 2 level 4 Evilswarm monsters, which in this case has to be 2 Callers, but you can detach material from him, discard a Steelswarm monster, and then take control of monster from controls. He's very good, and I think he has the potential to be the best Xyz monster that the Evilswarms and Steelswarms have available to them collectively, though he suffers from being kind of hard to make and a little bit situational as well. But 1 Evilswarm Ophion, the other contender for best Xyz monster the Evilswarms have available to them. He says that level 5 or higher monsters cannot be special summoned, period, which is very good. a lot of decks that'll shut down very, very effectively. He also can add Infestation Pandemics or First Step towards Infestations from your deck to your hand. So, just generally a really stellar card. And then lastly, one Tiras, Keeper of Genesis. I don't run any rank 6s or 7s for use with Girastag or Moth, but I do run the one rank 5 for use with the 2 Mantis, just because if you can use Mantis' effect, it's very easy to just grab the other Mantis and make a rank 5 significantly easier than it would be to actually tribute summon 2 Girastags and then make 7. And most of the time, I would want to just keep those Girastags or Moths separate, whereas Mantis is small enough that I actually would feel better about it being combined, so that's why I run Tiras and not 6s or 7s. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the content, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. And until next time, see ya!